Chapter 5. Approaching the Wine. Tristan and Iseult drank the love potion, and in that instant, romantic love enters our lives forever. For Tristan is Western man, and his life is our universal experience of romantic love. His wine-born rapture bespeaks a historical moment almost 1,000 years ago when the cult of romance burst into our culture and started a slow evolution that spanned the centuries and formed our modern ideas about love. We are about to approach the love potion in a new way. We have all tasted it, all been drunk on it. Now we need to look at it consciously. This wine is heady and strong, the best approached with care. So we will pause here and try to form a clearer idea of what we mean when we speak of romantic love. In our culture, people use the phrase romantic love indiscriminately to refer to almost any attraction between man and woman. If a couple is having a sexual affair, people will say they are romantically involved. If a man and a woman love each other and plan to marry, people will say it is a romance. But in fact, their relationship may not be based on romance at all. It may be simply based on love, which is completely different from romance. Or a woman will say, "I wish my husband would be more romantic," but what she actually means is that her husband should be more attentive, more thoughtful, and show more feeling. We are all so caught up in the belief that romantic love is, quote, true love, that we use the term for many things that are not romantic love at all. We assume that if it is love, it must be romance, and if it is romance, it must be love. The fact that we say romance when we mean love shows us that underneath our language there is a psychological muddle. Our confusion in language is the symptom that tells us we have lost the consciousness of what love is, what romance is, and what the differences are between them. We are confusing two great psychological systems within us, and this has a devastating effect on our lives and our relationships. Most of us have known married couples who never went through the romance stage in their love. Perhaps they started as friends, knew each other a long time as ordinary people, and never experienced a romantic attachment. They simply loved each other and decided to make a life together. Or we have seen couples who started in a great flurry of romance, but eventually graduated to the point where they accepted each other as ordinary human beings. They dropped their expectations of perfection and committed themselves to a human relationship rather than a vision of romantic ecstasy. It is hard for us to imagine that there could be any love, at least any worthwhile love, still alive for a couple after romance departs. But often these people have what the rest of us frequently lack: love, relatedness, stability, and commitment. In our culture, we have romance in abundance. We fall in love, we fall out of love, we live through great dramas filled with ecstasy when romance burns hot and filled with despair when romance grows cold. If we look at our own lives and at the people around us, we see that romance doesn't necessarily translate into love or relatedness or commitment. Romance is something distinct, something apart, a reality unto itself. Here, then, is the starting point for our exploration. Romantic love is not love, but a complex of attitudes about love, involuntary feelings, ideals, and reactions. Like Tristan, we drink of the potion and find ourselves possessed, caught in automatic reactions and intense feelings, a near visionary state. Our Western ideal of romantic love was born into our society in around the 12th century, about the time that Tristan was drinking the love potion for the first time. At the beginning, this cultural phenomenon was called courtly love, based on a completely new view of love and relationship. Under the influence of certain religious ideas of that era, courtly love idealized a, quote, spiritual relationship between men and women. Courtly love was an antidote to the patriarchal attitude we see in Tristan's world. It idealized the feminine. It taught a rough knight like Tristan actually to worship the universal feminine, symbolized by the fair lady whom he served and adored. It is this worship that we see in Tristan as soon as he drinks the wine. We sense that it is not Iseult he sees, but something divine embodied in her, something universal or transcendent that she symbolizes for him. Under the laws of courtly love, each knight agreed to obey his lady in all things having to do with love, relationship, manners, and taste. Within her realm, she was his mistress, his queen. There were 3 characteristics of courtly love that will help us to understand it. First, the knight and his lady were never to be involved sexually with each other. Theirs was an idealized, spiritualized relationship designed to lift them above the level of physical grossness to cultivate refined feeling and spirituality. The second requirement of courtly love was that they not be married to each other. In fact, the lady was usually married to another nobleman. The knight-errant adored her, served her, and made her the focus of his spiritual aspiration and idealism, but he could not have an intimate relationship with her. To do so would be to treat her as an ordinary mortal woman, and courtly love required that he treat her as a divinity, as a symbol of the eternal feminine and of his feminine soul. The third requirement was that the courtly lovers keep themselves aflame with passion, that they suffer intense desire for each other, yet strive to spiritualize their desire by seeing each other as symbols of the divine archetypal world, and by never reducing their passion to the ordinariness of sex or marriage. The ideal of courtly love so caught the Western imagination that it became the driving force behind a flow of poetry, song, love stories, and plays. The French love stories were called romans, which was anglicized into romance. In these romances were all the great themes that form the basis for our romantic literature. The knight sees a fair lady and is overwhelmed by her beauty and goodness. He worships her even after as the embodiment of his inner ideal, his inner vision of the eternal feminine. Though filled with a holy passion for her, he never touches her, but he goes through great adventures and does mighty deeds to honor her, to live up to the sense of nobility that she inspires in him. For him, she is not a woman. She is Blanchefleur, Iseult the Fair, Psyche, Beatrice, and Juliet, the archetypal feminine in her divine essence. Our word romantic and our romantic ideal have come down to us through the romances. Romantic love is, quote, storybook love. But this is a story that all of us try to live out in our own ways within the down-to-earth world of human relationships and human practicality. Despite our sexual revolution, despite our modern tendency to sexualize every relationship, we still seek the same basic psychological patterns in our romances. A woman who is more than a woman, the symbol of something so perfect and divine that she inspires a passion that goes beyond physical attraction, beyond love, to a sense of worship. We seek the spiritual intensity, the ecstasy, and the despair, the joyous meetings and the tearful partings of the romances. And we also feel, like the knights of old, that all of this uplifts us, refines us, and gives new life a new and special meaning, a meaning we have lost with Blanchefleur's departure, and a meaning we hope to find in Iseult the Fair. We might expect that a cult of love that specifically opposes marriage, that encourages passionate relationships outside of marriage, that seeks to spiritualize relationship into a perpetual and superhuman intensity, would be a very poor basis for marriage and a very risky approach to human relationships. Yet these are the ideals that underlie our patterns of courtship and marriage to this day. Taken on the wrong level, these inherited ideals cause us to seek passion and intensity for their own sake. They plant a perpetual discontent that can never find the perfection it seeks. This discontent grays over every modern relationship, holds an unattainable ideal before our eyes that blinds us perpetually to the delight and beauty of the here and now world. There is something awesome in these huge, culturally transmitted systems of belief. One day we realize that we are completely possessed and dominated by a set of beliefs that we, as individuals, never chose. It is as though we breathe them in from novels and movies, from the psychological air around us, and they became part of us, as though fused with the cells of our bodies. We all know that we are supposed to fall in love and that our relationships must be based on romance. Nothing else will do. Every man knows what he is supposed to feel in a relationship and what he is entitled to demand from his girlfriend or wife. It is all spelled out in detail in some unseen layer of his unconscious mind. This is, quote, romance. However, there is something real and true in romantic love, regardless of how we misunderstand it or misapply the ideal of our ancestors. There is a truth in the high tales of romantic love that thrills us. There is a truth in the noble deeds of the knight, the beauty and goodness of the lady, the sacrifices, the reverence, the quests, and the faithfulness unto death. In the aspirations of romantic love, there is a deep psychological truth that reverberates in our souls, that awakens us to what we are at our best, what we are when we are whole. No one can hear these ancient romances and be unmoved, unless he be made of ice. For in these loves, adventures, and acts of devotion, there is revealed all that is noble, loving, faithful, and most high within our own selves. If we must look at what has gone wrong with romantic love, let us also see what is right about it. In its purest form, it is an ideal of great power, and contained within every such ideal is profound reality. They are not only ideals, they are windows on our souls that tell of a practical and living reality within us, something we can live and be. We may misunderstand the truth behind the ideal. We may try to live it out on the wrong level or to put it in the wrong place, but the truth is there to enrich us and to move us closer to wholeness. Our task is to find the truth in romantic love and the level on which this truth can live. It is difficult to look objectively at romance. It is painful, for we fear that reality will drive out love, and that life will then be cold and dismal. But one of the great needs of modern people is to learn the difference between human love as a basis for relationship and romantic love as an inner ideal, a path to the inner world. Love does not suffer by being freed from the belief systems of romantic love. Love's status will only improve as love is distinguished from romance. Jung once quoted a medieval alchemist who said, quote, only what is separated may be properly joined, end quote. When two things are muddled together, they need to be separated, distinguished, and untangled, so that they may later be rejoined in a workable synthesis. This is the correct meaning of analysis in psychology. To analyze is to separate out the entangled threads of one's inner life, the confused values, ideals, loyalties, and feelings, so that they may be synthesized in a new way. We analyze romantic love, not to destroy it, but to understand what it is and where it belongs in our lives. Analysis must always serve synthesis in order to serve life. What is taken apart must be put back together again. The sorceress queen has mixed strange and wondrous ingredients in her potion. There are secret herbs, magical spells, and unearthly powers. Jungian even says that the queen mixed, quote, not love alone, but love and death together. We have all tasted of this brew and wandered into the world drunk with magic. We have all been lovers, but now we can be alchemists. We will unmix the wine. We will distill out the herbs and spells. Then we will see what awesome forces are mixed in us, revealed in our capacity for both human and divine love.